Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you my top 5 favourite foundations that I've tested so far this year. I'm pretty sure my channel's been around maybe 6 months, almost a year, something like that. So I've tested quite a few foundations. They're all in the playlist, which I'll link down below so that you can see my reviews of all of these foundations. Now, I don't know if I liked all of these foundations at first, but I've kind of liked them all so much that they're my foundations that sit in my drawer, like my everyday makeup drawer. It's getting kind of full now, so I need to have a clear through and actually put away the stuff that I don't use on the daily. But anyway, I've also included a couple of my favourite mixes that I'm going to discuss with you at the end that I do like to mix with these foundations. They're not like my top favourite foundations. All of these foundations are ones that I would wear alone. So if you want to see what my top 5 favourite foundations of the year are, then please keep on watching. And if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave. And if you press that notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload. So one of my very favourite foundations is the only one that I have in a full bottle as a high-end foundation. So this is the Este Lauder Double Wear. It has SPF 10. This isn't the Double Wear Nude. I haven't tried that one. I'm definitely interested in trying that. But this is just the regular Double Wear. It is super matte and it lasts all day. I do really long shifts and this lasts pretty well on me for 14 plus hours. They've come out with a new shade, a new lighter shade, which is 0N1 Alabaster. Before that, the lighter shade I think was 1C1 Shell, and that was a little bit dark on me. That is the original shade that I tested, so that will be in the video linked down below, as I will link all of the videos testing all of the foundations I have mentioned. But I don't find this completely transfer proof like it says. I do tend to lose a touch from my nose. If I have to wear a face mask at work, or if I bump my nose against something, it does come off a little bit, so I do have to touch it up there, but that's kind of it. It does look really good. I don't find it especially smoothing or anything like that, but it does look really nice and flattering on the skin. I find that even with my dry patches, it doesn't emphasize those. It's a really nice, really long wear matte foundation that I would totally recommend. I think it retails for about £30 or so for a bottle, and it doesn't come with a pump. That's one of the things that I don't like. You have to tip it out, and I find that's a waste hazard. But I will just put it back in. I'm not going to waste this. It is high-end, it is expensive. So if you are going to treat yourself to a high-end foundation, this is the one that I recommend. All of my other foundations are more affordable. So the most affordable one, I would say, is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. Now, this is one of my most, it might have been even my most recent foundation review. So I will link that down below. I have the shade Soft Ivory, which I believe is the lightest shade. What I do not like about this foundation is the lack of shade ranges. I do not like the smell or this applicator. It's a ridiculous applicator. The shade is also too dark for me. So generally speaking, unless I'm wearing a turtleneck and I pull it all the way down, I would have to mix this foundation. But it is a gorgeous foundation. I put my mum onto this, who freaking loves it. It's full coverage and it lasts really well. This is my gym foundation. I don't look sweaty, even after a proper workout at the gym. It is super full coverage, super matte. Smells a bit like paint thinner. But this one lasts really well as well. This one is a bit less matte. This is a matte finish. And I think if you are super dry and you dry as you go throughout the day, I tend to do that a little bit. So this is a bit more of a summer foundation for me, less so for a winter foundation. This is good for oil controlling, not so much for skin that's going to be drying out throughout the day. I don't find this emphasises any of my dry spots, to be fair. However, I haven't tried it too much as my skin starts to dry out. I tend to wear this for the gym, and I tend to wear this more in the warmer days. This to me is definitely an oil controlling foundation, and for you girls and guys with oily skin, I think this would work really well for you. Another matte foundation I have, which I have 2 shades of, is Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. I have the shade 05 Light Beige, which I thought was the lightest shade when I bought it. Turns out it isn't. And 03 True Ivory, which is the lightest shade. Neither of them are light enough for me, I'll be straight. So generally speaking, if I am going to mix it, I'll use up my 05 and I'll mix it with a whitener, which I will discuss my favourite mixers to mix any of these with in a moment. But if I'm going to wear one on its own, I'll pull it all the way down and I'll wear something like a turtleneck or something with a high neck so that you can't really tell, or I'll just have to blend it in really well. This is a little bit too dark for me, 03 True Ivory, but it is really nice. It's not super matte and I don't find it full coverage unless you put a second layer. And to be honest, I don't like to. I find it looks a little cakey, so what I like to do is I like to put on like a full layer where I get a little bit of like less coverage. I'll pull my concealer down a little bit further. But this works really well for me. It does give that kind of airbrushed finish and it does last like all day. I would say this lasts a little bit better, a little bit longer. But as like a drugstore alternative, this is very good. I don't find it emphasising any of my dry spots. I find it makes me look a bit more airbrushed actually than this one does. This one goes on a little bit smoother. I love how this looks, and it's probably like one of like my top 2 favourite foundations. Yeah, my top 2. The next one is also in my top 2. But this is just such an amazing foundation and it's so affordable. It's under £10, so why not? Why not go for it? My next one in my top 2 is the CYO Long Lasting Life Proof Foundation. You can see how much of this stuff I have gone through. I freaking love this foundation. It's exclusive to Boots in the UK and it's like £7, £7.50. It's a really nice neutral toned foundation. I will insert some swatches of like all of these foundations down below so that you can kind of see. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in Soft Ivory. This is the Este Lauder Double Wear Foundation in 0N1 Alabaster. This is the Maybelline Superstay Foundation in 03 True Ivory and in 05 Light Beige. This is the CYO Long Lasting Life Proof Foundation in 101. This is the Revolution Foundation Drops in F1 and the Whitener. This is the Nip and Fab Whitener, and this is the Body Shop Fresh Nude Foundation in Chelsea Porcelain. This is the most neutral foundation, so if that's what you're looking for, then this is a good one to go to. It is super smoothing, and I find that it has a little bit of a glow to it. It's not super glowy. It's not super matte either. It's like a satin finish. This is definitely the most smoothing foundation I have. I don't find it lasts all day. I find it lasts to about like the 8-hour point. But generally speaking, if I'm not working, that's all I need. So this is like my go-to foundation. I really should have, when there was like a sale on, bought more. Don't know why I didn't. Normally I buy like 2 or 3 backups because this is one of my favourites. And I think I will definitely continue to use this. If you have texture, this is going to be so good for those of you that have some of that texture. I have a bit of texture here and you can't see it with this foundation. It is just so smoothing and so flattering on all skin types. I think this would be really good for like aging skin as well. I mean, the combination I have on, like this shows like some forehead wrinkles. You would see nothing like that with this. It is such a good foundation and I feel like it lasts really well on my skin up to like the 8-hour point. But this is a beautiful foundation and it's near enough a shade match for me. My favourite glowy foundation is the Revolution Pro Foundation Drops. I really like this foundation. I find it lasts pretty well on my skin. It doesn't last quite as long as the matte ones do, but it looks so nice and glowy and not like too glowy on the skin. It looks so nice, and F1 is a really good light shade. It has a lot of shades in this range, which I really like. I'm not like a massive fan of this like dropper moment, but it's better than the applicator, you know, with the Wet n Wild. It's a nice consistency. I do find that I have to have a couple of layers on with a sponge to make this build to the coverage I like, but it doesn't go cakey. So I actually can build this one, whereas I can't build some of the others. There is absolutely no need to build this one. This looks cakey when you build it, as does this. CYO you can build as well. It is medium coverage, but you can build it to a bit more of a full coverage. This I like as like a medium to full coverage. I don't need like full coverage when it's glowy like that, but it just looks so beautiful and the shade is quite nice. It's not too pink either. I find like this one pretty cool toned. I find this one pretty warm toned. This to me is kind of in the middle. It has a bit more of that yellow. So if you're looking for a bit more of that pink, I think they have this in the F05 like they do with the concealer. They have this C0.5. I think they may have this with the foundation, so that does have more of that pink undertone if that's what you're looking for. It's also a little bit lighter. However, now we're coming to mixers. I have the Revolution Pro like whitener, and I like this to mix with this to get like my perfect shade match. I can actually get my perfect shade match with this. And this is a fantastic like glowy mixer as well as like a whitener. I wouldn't use this with my matte foundations unless I found them too matte. I haven't tried this combination and I think I will, like to try and maybe get this a little less matte, but I feel like I would shear the coverage out and I'm not so sure that that's what I want to do. But this is a really nice glowy mixer. If I wear this, I will mix this in with it as a rule because I want it just a touch lighter for my skin tone. I will also use the white one if I say want this a little bit lighter. I won't really tend to mix it with much else. If I'm trying a different foundation that I want to be a bit more glowy, this is probably the foundation mixer I would reach for if I want it lighter as well. I mixed these two foundations today. This is the Body Shop Fresh Nude Foundation in Chelsea Porcelain. I don't like it on its own. As a mixer, it does give me this like wrinkled moment here, which is why I just wouldn't wear it on its own. And that's the only problem I have with it as a mixer. I use it mixed in with like this to make it more glowy without making it lighter. If I want to have a bit more of a tan, like you can probably see, my foundation's a touch darker than I am. However, like sometimes I like it like that. Not that that's like a recommendation. This is what I will use to make it glowy without having to lighten it. My matte mixer is the Nip and Fab Foundation. Now, this one is what I will use with like, I don't need to lighten my Este Lauder one, but I do need to lighten my Maybelline one occasionally. And I do need to lighten my Wet n Wild one, and this is the mixer that I use with it. I find that if you're not careful, this is probably one of the factors that makes it look a bit cakey when you build it up. However, I don't need to then build it up with the Wet n Wild one. So if I want it to look a bit more airbrushed, I will use this on its own. I find that if I want it to match me a little bit better, I can still get that airbrush effect with this mixer, but it also keeps it matte, which I do really like. Like, this is my matte mixer, my favourite matte mixer so far. So that's kind of the entire video. Like, it was not as long as I expected it to be. Foundation is like my favourite thing in the world, to be honest. Like, makeup wise, I don't know that I love anything more. It's something that I like obsess over. If you've got a good base, you've got, you know, everything kind of goes better. It's a good makeup day when you have a good foundation base, like no matter what you put on it to me. So this is something that I am completely passionate about. If your foundation is bad, it is going to ruin your makeup for the entire day. So this is why I want to put out there my favourite foundations. I don't just want to put out there matte ones because it's not fair on people that don't like a matte one. And I don't just want to put out the dewier ones because it's not fair on you oily skinned gals. But I absolutely freaking love these foundations, and I just wanted to share that with you. It's good for you guys to have an update as to what I'm using in the long run, because there are foundations that I have liked that I do not use in the long run because there's stuff that's come out that I don't like about them. They don't look, say, so good in the winter or say so good in the summer. So I think I will keep doing updates like this possibly. I mean, we'll see how this one goes down. So if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave. And if you press that notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload. Thank you for watching.